Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Jack Abbott will have to deal with the awful fallout of Victor Newman's scheme and everything that happened with Patty Williams on that yacht. It's obvious that Jack was drugged into compliance, so that explains Jack's willingness to take this wild romp with Patty. Jack would never betray Diane Jenkins Abbott if he weren't in this altered state, especially not with Patty of all people. Alas, Jack isn't strong enough to fight temptation due to whatever he's been drugged with. That's why Diane will come running into that room in the March 16th episode and get the shock of seeing her husband under the sheets with Patty. In an interview with SOD, Peter Bergman promised, "This is just a spark for the fuse." Jack's life is about to explode in a big way, so Bergman warned Y&R fans that the consequences of that night would be lasting. What this portends for Jack's life is so much bigger than what you see on screen right now. Jack's life is forever changed on that yacht. The repercussions of what happened on that boat will affect Jack's life for years to come. There will be scars, Bergman teased. Of course, we have to wonder whether Peter Bergman truly means that or if he's just hyping up his storyline like any good cast member should. Will the fallout of the yacht fiasco really be as huge as Bergman claims? In addition to slapping Jack and calling him disgusting, it looks like Diane's going to move out of the Abbott mansion. Diane and Jack are apparently headed for a separation, so that news will break Jack's heart. On the bright side, there could be some hope for Jack and Diane since we know they'll be attending a fundraiser together when they do the Beyond the Gates crossover this June. Could Diane and Jack be on better terms by then? Naturally, we should also consider the possibility that Jack and Diane will simply put their issues aside and pretend to be a happy couple just to keep up appearances. Diane and Jack certainly wouldn't be the first people to smile at a special event like everything's fine while secretly clashing behind closed doors. That said, Jack and Diane are surely the endgame couple here. Patty is the devious interloper while Victor's the mastermind who tried to tear Diane and Jack apart, so Y&R surely won't let the villains of this story win. That's especially true since Jack was drugged and taken advantage of. It wasn't Jack's fault that he broke his marriage vows, so Diane will hopefully get past what went down sooner or later. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Jack will face some misery in the meantime, so stay tuned for the drama that's still to come. In the ever-churning world of the Young and the Restless, where power, betrayal, and passion collide beneath the polished surface of Genoa City, a storm is quietly building, one that will soon shatter the life of Jack Abbott in ways he never imagined. What began as one of Victor Newman's calculated schemes has spiraled into a devastating chain of events, all unfolding on a yacht that would become the setting for a night Jack will regret for the rest of his life. The circumstances were far from ordinary, and the truth hidden beneath the scandal is darker than it first appears. Jack, a man known for his loyalty and devotion, especially to his beloved wife Diane Jenkins Abbott, was not acting of his own free will. Somewhere in the shadows of Victor's ruthless plotting, Jack had been drugged, his judgment clouded, his will weakened, and his defenses stripped away. In that vulnerable state, he was pulled into a reckless and shocking encounter with the unpredictable and deeply troubled Patty Williams, a moment that would soon ignite a devastating explosion of consequences. For anyone who truly knows Jack Abbott, the idea that he would willingly betray Diane, especially with someone like Patty, seems almost impossible to believe. Jack has made mistakes in the past, but this is different. This is a man stripped of his control, pushed into temptation by something he could barely fight. The drug coursing through his system dulled his resistance, blurring the boundaries between right and wrong until he was no longer the man who boarded that yacht. And yet the cruel truth remains that appearances rarely tell the full story, and what Diane is about to witness will leave no room for explanation in the heat of the moment. As fate would have it, the storm breaks in the March 16th episode, when Diane storms into a room expecting something entirely different, only to be confronted with a devastating sight that freezes her in place. There beneath the sheets is her husband with Patty. The shock crashes over Diane like a tidal wave, turning disbelief into fury and heartbreak in the blink of an eye. The emotional fallout is immediate and explosive, and viewers can expect the moment to unfold with raw intensity. According to Peter Bergman, the actor who has long brought Jack Abbott to life, this shocking discovery is only the beginning of a much larger disaster. In an interview with Soap Opera Digest, Bergman teased that what viewers are seeing now is merely the spark that lights the fuse. The real explosion, the one that will reshape Jack's life, has only just begun. The repercussions of that fateful night on the yacht, he warned, are not temporary ripples, but deep, lasting scars that will echo through Jack's future for years to come. In Bergman's own words, Jack's life will never be the same again after what happened on that boat, and the emotional wounds left behind will not fade easily. Of course, there is always the question of whether these warnings are simply the dramatic enthusiasm of a veteran soap actor hyping an intense storyline. Soap operas thrive on emotional upheaval, and every twist is often promised to change everything forever. Yet this time, the damage appears painfully real, especially when the immediate consequences begin to unfold between Jack and Diane. Her heartbreak quickly turns to rage, and in a moment charged with betrayal and disgust, Diane lashes out, slapping Jack across the face and condemning what she believes is an unforgivable act. The man she trusted, the man she rebuilt her life with, now stands before her as someone she barely recognizes. And as the weight of that betrayal sinks in, Diane makes a devastating decision that cuts deeper than any slap ever could. She leaves the Abbott mansion. The separation between Jack and Diane marks the beginning of an emotional fracture that threatens to tear their marriage apart. For Jack, the pain is overwhelming, not only because he's losing the woman he loves, but because he knows the truth behind what happened cannot easily be explained or believed. How do you convince someone that your betrayal wasn't truly yours? How do you undo a moment that to everyone else looks painfully real? As Jack struggles with guilt, confusion, and the crushing loss of Diane's trust, the shadow of Victor Newman's manipulation looms large over the entire disaster. Victor's scheme, designed to destroy the fragile happiness Jack and Diane built together, may have succeeded more thoroughly than even he imagined. And yet, even within the heartbreak, there are faint flickers of hope glimmering on the horizon. Despite their looming separation, Jack and Diane are expected to appear together at a major fundraiser during the upcoming crossover event with Beyond the Gates this June. Their joint appearance raises an intriguing question: will the wounds between them begin to heal by then? Perhaps time, truth, and reflection will allow Diane to see what really happened that night. But there's also another possibility, one that longtime soap fans know all too well. Appearances can be deceiving. Jack and Diane might simply put on brave smiles for the public, presenting themselves as the perfect couple while their private reality is still fractured and painfully unresolved. In the world of Genoa City, it wouldn't be the first time a couple maintained the illusion of happiness while quietly battling behind closed doors. Beneath the elegant setting of a charity gala, resentment, heartbreak, and unresolved questions could still simmer between them. Yet many fans believe that Jack and Diane are destined to find their way back to one another eventually. Their love story has endured countless obstacles before, and in the grand narrative of The Young and the Restless, they remain one of the show's most enduring couples. In this tangled web of betrayal and manipulation, Patty Williams stands as the chaotic interloper, while Victor Newman remains the calculating mastermind who set the tragedy in motion. And perhaps that is why, despite the devastation unfolding now, it's hard to imagine the villains of this story ultimately winning. After all, Jack was not acting of his own free will. He was drugged, manipulated, and taken advantage of during one of the most vulnerable moments of his life. The truth of that betrayal may not erase the pain Diane feels, but it could one day help her understand that Jack's broken vows were never truly his choice. Until that truth finds its way into the light, however, Jack Abbott must endure the painful consequences of a night he barely remembers, a night that has already begun reshaping his world. For now, the road ahead promises heartbreak, tension, and emotional turmoil as Jack grapples with the fallout of Victor's ruthless scheme. Diane's absence from the Abbott mansion will leave a hollow silence where love once thrived, and every step Jack takes will be shadowed by regret and longing. Yet in Genoa City, nothing remains broken forever, and even the deepest wounds sometimes find a way to heal. Until that moment arrives, viewers can only watch as the drama unfolds, knowing that the true impact of that fateful night on the yacht has only just begun to reveal itself. As the emotional dust begins to settle from that explosive confrontation, the silence left behind at the Abbott mansion feels heavier than any argument that could have filled its halls. For Jack Abbott, the once warm and familiar home now echoes with the painful absence of the woman who meant everything to him. The shock of Diane Jenkins Abbott walking out lingers in the air like a storm that refuses to pass, leaving Jack standing in the wreckage of a moment he barely understands. Every memory of the night on the yacht replays in fragments, confusing, distorted, and clouded by the drug that stripped him of his judgment. The more he tries to piece together what truly happened, the more unbearable the truth becomes. The world believes he betrayed his wife, and no matter how desperately he tries to explain the circumstances, the image Diane witnessed him in bed with Patty Williams is one that refuses to fade from her mind. Meanwhile, Diane carries her own storm of emotions as she struggles to process the betrayal she believes she saw with her own eyes. The pain is raw and immediate, cutting deeper than any previous conflict they have endured together. She had rebuilt her life beside Jack with hope and trust, believing that their love had finally found solid ground after years of turmoil. Yet in a single devastating moment, that trust shattered, leaving Diane questioning everything she thought she knew about the man she married. Anger fuels her decision to leave the Abbott mansion, but beneath that anger lies heartbreak so profound it threatens to swallow her whole. Even as she tries to convince herself that walking away is the only choice she has left, the memories of their love continue to tug at her heart, refusing to be silenced. Hovering over the entire disaster like a shadow is the cold and calculated influence of Victor Newman. Victor's schemes are legendary in Genoa City, but even by his ruthless standards, this plan may prove to be one of his most devastating. Whether he anticipated every consequence or not, the damage inflicted by his manipulation has struck directly at the heart of Jack's life. Victor has always viewed Jack as a rival, someone whose happiness and success have long irritated the powerful Newman patriarch. By setting the stage for that fateful encounter with Patty, Victor may have succeeded in planting a seed of destruction that could unravel Jack's marriage entirely. The tragedy of it all is that the truth behind the manipulation remains hidden, leaving Jack to shoulder the blame for something he never truly chose. At the center of the chaos stands Patty Williams herself, a woman whose troubled past and unpredictable behavior make her a dangerous presence in any situation. Patty has long lived on the fringes of sanity and obsession, and her involvement in this scandal only adds another layer of darkness to an already complicated story. Whether she fully understands the role she played or simply became another pawn in Victor's larger scheme remains a question that hangs uneasily in the air. What cannot be denied, however, is that her presence on that yacht has triggered consequences that will ripple through the lives of everyone involved. For Jack and Diane, Patty's role in this catastrophe makes the betrayal feel even more disturbing and surreal. The very thought that such a moment could occur between them is enough to leave Diane shaken to her core. And yet, amid the heartbreak and anger, the future of Jack and Diane's relationship remains uncertain rather than completely destroyed. In the unpredictable storytelling world of The Young and the Restless, love stories often endure trials that seem impossible to overcome. Jack and Diane have weathered countless storms in the past, each time finding their way back to one another through forgiveness and resilience. That history makes it difficult to believe their story will truly end because of one night born from manipulation and deceit. Even now, as the pain between them feels almost insurmountable, the foundation of their love still exists beneath the rubble. Whether it will be strong enough to rebuild their marriage is a question that only time and truth can answer. Hints of that uncertain future begin to surface with news that Jack and Diane will appear together at a major fundraiser connected to the upcoming crossover with Beyond the Gates. The idea of them attending such a public event side by side raises countless possibilities. Perhaps by then the initial shock and anger will have softened enough for Diane to listen to Jack's explanation. Perhaps new information about Victor's manipulation will begin to surface, forcing Diane to reconsider what really happened on that yacht. Or perhaps the two of them will simply choose to maintain a carefully crafted illusion for the sake of appearances, smiling politely in public while their private struggles remain painfully unresolved. In the world of high society and corporate power that surrounds Genoa City, maintaining appearances is often just another form of survival. For now, however, Jack's path is one of sorrow and reflection as he confronts the devastating fallout of a night he never intended to live. The consequences described by Peter Bergman during his interview with Soap Opera Digest begin to feel more real with every passing moment. The emotional scars left by this betrayal, real or perceived, are not wounds that will heal overnight. Trust has been shattered, reputations have been shaken, and the fragile peace Jack once enjoyed has been replaced by uncertainty and regret. Each new day will force him to confront the damage done both to his marriage and to his sense of self. Still, in the ever-evolving drama of Genoa City, one truth remains constant. No story is ever truly finished. The same twists and revelations that tore Jack and Diane apart could eventually become the very forces that bring them back together. If the truth behind Victor's scheme finally emerges, it could shift everything Diane believes about that night. And when the full story comes to light, the real battle may not be about betrayal at all, but about whether love is strong enough to survive the cruel manipulations that tried to destroy it. Until that moment arrives, the lives of Jack and Diane remain suspended in a fragile, painful limbo, while the echoes of that fateful night on the yacht continue to reshape their future in ways neither of them could have imagined.